Perfect. Good, good, good.
I don't have it.
You don't have either one of those?
No.
Hey, tell me some of the oils that you have. Just single oils.
Cape snowbush, ginger grass, rue, hyssop, corn mint, brachytherium, healing accelerator. I've got basil. I've got geranium, lemongrass. What else do I have? Rosemary, Bevitor. That's about it. Helichrysum? I don't know if I said that right.
Let's have you use lemongrass.
Okay, thank you. Is it possible to ask a question just now
Sure.
before we start?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a question I have is about an overview of what we're doing here, because the last two sessions, in the first session, you did the cleansing of the heart, like the preparing the heart, and then we did the manifestation. And then in last week's session, we did the PTSD and preparing the basic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, like, if I had a goal and I want to manifest it, how do I go about using all of these sessions? Like, do I need to do the preparing the heart and then preparing the basic and then
so the materialization component of it, you know, where we're doing the breathing, that has to do with the actual materialization of the goal or attracting the energies from the environment for the materialization. The preparing the heart and preparing the basic basically dictate how strong that mechanism is. And so the heart is like a radio antenna that's attracting something and also purifying the negative tendencies that we would have, you know, sabotage thinking, thoughts from other people, those kinds of things. The basic chakra is our ability to put whatever we attract into action, to take action, to attract prosperity, to maintain prosperity, to have stable prosperity. You know, you're getting it into physical form. It also is our tendency to be practical and realistic, right? And so over a prolonged period of time, if you look at what is when somebody's like prosperous and they're able to maintain it, where there's not ups and downs, where they make it, they lose it, they, you know, they're all over the place. It's actually a big heart and a big basic, right? And so if the issue is the heart, then you would spend a little bit more time amping that up for the materialization. Now, in circles like what we're doing, the issue is usually not the heart. Like if we were dealing with just hardcore business people, we would probably have to spend a lot more time on the heart, less time on the basic. But for spiritual practitioners, the issue a lot of times is the basic chakra. You know, the heart is usually big, but the basic chakra is not been utilized enough, or there's been traumas, because a lot of times we enter into the spiritual practice because of past traumas, past difficulties, things like this, stresses. And, you know, as we go through and we meditate and we do these things, we also become more aware of the things going on around us that can also be a bit upsetting. And so when we go through and do this practice, really for this kind of circle, the basic chakra is usually a little bit more of an issue. You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to focus a little bit more on the basic chakra and the PTSD aspect is, you know, PTSD has really come into awareness a lot more in the last 10, 15 years. You know, 20, 25 years ago, we didn't even really use the form PTSD. We were treating something, but a lot of times we didn't use that terminology. So, you know, in the old days, you know, this is way back before me, like, you know, guys would come back from World War II or something like that, and they'd call it battle fatigue.
Mm.
And so it is a brain fatigue syndrome. And so if you look at what's going on even right now with the COVID issue, you know, as time goes by, there's such a level of anxiety and stress and fear that's going on with everything that's going on with society and the quarantine issues and trying not to get sick and all these things that, you know, we're going to start seeing a lot more PTSD type symptoms, I think, in the next few months. And so going through and treating this is probably more important than it ever has been. So one of the things that happens is like when you're under stress and then the situation passes, your basic chakra is the thing that gets impacted the most. When that situation passes and goes away, your other chakras bounce back. Your basic chakra does not bounce back. It usually takes a long time for that basic chakra to bounce back. So a lot of times when people are having a hard time with their finances, it's usually a basic chakra issue. So we're basically going to slow down what we're doing and not just do, I mean, we were doing a pretty involved protocol in the class for preparing the basic. We're going to take it way, 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 way deeper over the next few weeks than has actually previously been taught. And we're going to break down what each step is doing and why we're doing it and do it to a much higher degree. And so, I mean, that one step, the preparing the basic and the PTS protocol, I mean, we really could turn that into a one-day class, just that one protocol. And so instead of doing a one-day class, we're just going to spread it out over a period of time and just do it in the review classes so you guys get the information and you understand why we're doing what we're doing. And so as you go through and do this, it becomes easier and easier for you to get things done. It becomes easier for you to overcome obstacles, not get stuck with difficulties, and not get stuck in the past. And it tends to make you a bit more practical, a bit more realistic, and you really aren't having to consciously think of it. You just, your behavior kind of changes, your thought processes change. And as we go through and we do each piece, you'll understand why.
Okay. So if I had a goal, I could essentially be like regularly preparing my basic and work, and then do the manifestation piece of it separately. Is that?
Yeah, they do not need to be done together.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Like you can do the process, you can do the materialization thing every day, but when you want to juice it up and add more gasoline to it, either do preparing the heart or preparing the basic.
Okay. Okay. That
for
makes total sense.
spiritual circles, it's usually preparing the basic. If this was the corporate setting, it would be preparing the heart. You guys don't have heart issues usually. This group, everybody's heart's usually super, super big, right? It's usually the basic chakra that needs the work.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. So how many people do we have on?
61 right now.
Okay, so we're going to get started, and we're going to revisit what we did last week, but we're going to go much greater depth. We're actually going to take each step of the preparing the basic and break it into another 4-step process. So your very first step was with tarragon, right? With tarragon. So again, I'm going to go through and explain this. I know that I've explained this several times, but I'm going to explain the stress mechanisms and why each phase is important. And then we're going to take each step down a rabbit hole, okay? So when you look at when something happens that is super, super stressful, what is stress, right? So your body is constantly maintaining a balance, right? It's maintaining a balance within itself, right? It's always trying to keep the eyes horizontal. It's trying to keep its breath. It's trying to make sure that it has food. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's in a safe environment. You know, all these things. It's always trying to balance everything. It's striving for a certain degree of comfort. This is good. This is good for your survival, right? So the body does not judge what is good or bad. It just balances whatever state you're in. Your body is actually highly adaptive. It just doesn't go, this is good for us, this is bad for us, right? So, you know, the example that I always use is, say your shoulder gets injured and it's elevated, right? Now, if your body doesn't adjust, you walk around like this, your eyes aren't horizontal, it becomes harder to thrive in the environment walking around with your eyes like this. You're going to have equilibrium issues. You're going to have much harder time processing things in the environment. You know, you're going to have slower reactions. So your body goes, okay, your shoulder's up. Let's adjust our head like this. Our eyes are horizontal again. Boom, we're back in business. Now, 30 days goes by and you go, let's put this shoulder down. Let's get some therapy and put the shoulder down. Your body goes, no, 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 no. I've got this. You're making me change all these things. I've already got it changed. You know, you're making me do a whole bunch of things that I've already taken care of. We've already adapted. We're just going to leave it like this. We're going to leave it up, right? So when you start to put that shoulder back down, your body actually will resist it because it's already integrated that and is balancing that now. Because now it would be like this and it has to go through and readjust, right? So your body is constantly striving for balance, constantly, right? Balance in the environment, balance within itself, balance in relationships, balance in the workplace, balance in relationships, whatever it is, you're constantly striving for balance, right? What stress is when you are pushed out of balance. So for you to be pushing that shoulder back down is actually causing the body's stress, even though it is a positive thing. You're putting that in a place where you're taking other stresses off the body and you're balancing out the body. Your body in the first reaction sees that as a stress because it has to change, right? So anytime there is change, your body sees that as a stressful event, right? Most stresses start off physically, not psychologically, right? Emotionally, mentally, you could be fine. Your body could still be full of stress, right? Eventually, it will affect you emotionally. Eventually, it will affect you mentally. But there's mental stress, there's emotional stress, and there's physical stress. And then there's stress from other people, right? So with this, we're wanting to look at the stress mechanisms, understand them, and understand what each piece means. Now, the stress mechanism is broken down into 4 segments or 4 steps, right? First is there is an incident. There is an incident that has pushed you out of balance, right? So this is the red alert. Something has happened. My shoulder has gone up or my shoulder has gone down. So now your body is like, okay, red alert, something has happened, right? Now, step 2 is now you go into this phase of trying to evaluate the value of what happened. Is this good for me? Is this bad for me? What does this mean? Does this mean that something bad's gonna happen? Does this mean I can't go to work on Monday? Does this mean this relationship's over? What does this mean? So you're visiting hypotheticals, right? You're establishing value and you're visiting hypotheticals, right? Then step 3 is you start to form a strategy. What do I do? Do I embrace this change? Do I take steps to get back to the place that I was? Like, what do I do to handle this situation? What strategy do I need to put in place? Step 4 is then implementation of that strategy. Now, if you look in Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths are: 1, in life, there is suffering, right? In life, there is suffering. So if you look at it like this, there is always going to be change. There is always going to be cycles, right? There's always going to be consequences to our actions. that we can't foresee. So there's always going to be things pushing us out of balance. So in life, there is suffering. So this is the red alert. The second aspect of the Four Noble Truths is, what is the nature of the suffering, right? So the language that we would use for anatomy and physiology is, we're establishing the value of what is happening. What are the hypotheticals? What is the nature of what is happening, right? Third is, then you go through and you go, okay, what steps can I take to end my suffering, right? So this is the aspect, when we look at it from the point of view of anatomy physiology, of let's form a strategy. What strategy can we put in place to end our suffering? What strategy can we put in place to bring ourselves into balance or to adapt and change? And then the fourth noble truth is, then you take action and you do the steps to end your suffering. And based on the anatomy and physiology of what we're talking about is implementation of the strategy, right? So this is based on the Four Noble Truths. This is based on anatomy, physiology. This is based on Jungian psychology. This is based on shamanic practices. They use different terminology, but we're all talking about the same exact thing, the stress response, right? Simply, it's the stress response. Even the fear response, the trauma response are just variations of the stress response. So now, that first step is the red alert. In life, there is suffering, right? So in this place, the more agitated the response, the more that impacts those last three stages, right? So here you want to calm things down, you want to soothe things, and to a certain extent, you want to diminish what you would call automatic behavior or automatic thinking, right? So automatic behavior, automatic thinking, all that means is something got engaged without being processed by the brain. Your brain's not processing anything, you're just responding. And then a lot of times afterwards you go, okay, what just happened, right? You have a body response or you have a conditioned response, right? You're not thinking about it, it's automatic. You're not processing it, right? So now, the more that you can be present in this particular phase, the other three steps go much, much smoother, right? So another way of saying this is, if this step is really well regulated, if this is not agitated because of past conditioning and past stressful situations, and you undo some of the past conditioning, right here in this step, you have the ability to transmute whatever the situation is into something positive. You're transmuting a negative situation into a potential for a possibility for growth. You're taking it and going, okay, I either grow here, I evolve here, I change, I adapt, or I get stronger by maintaining my balance. Your ability to transmute anything directly corresponds to this first step. So if you stand back and you look at it, if you think of situations where people have done things where you hurt your feelings, or something's gone wrong, and you have some sort of resentment in the situation or with the person, this step is where resentment gets generated. This is the seed or root cause of resentment, right? So if you handle this situation well, this first step, the tendency is for you to not hold on to things from the past and not be resentful to people who have caused you harm, right? Difficulties, even if it's intentional or malicious, the tendency is to not hold resentments. Holding a resentment is like holding a hot coal, waiting to hit somebody with a hot coal and hoping to get their attention. You had to hold that hot coal for a long period of time to hit that person. Who's the person who really got burned? The person who's holding on to the resentment, right? So if you do this first stage well, if you do this first stage really, really well, the tendency is when people do things, you're able to let it just brush off of you and act without having automatic behavior or automatic thinking, cognitively or consciously choosing your step and then not holding on to a resentment. And it's like, well, you know, that person does it to everybody. I'm not special. Why would I be different? They're a jerk to everybody. You know, I'm not special. They're a jerk to me because I was in front of them. Where when we hold on resentment, it's like, how could they do this when they do it to everybody, right? They do it to anybody that's in their way, you know? So just this first step, if we take this down the rabbit hole, it helps you to let go of painful things in the past and not personalize the things that have happened, especially when it's a person that has done it, even when it's been intentional and malicious, right? So you don't have to work on anything in particular, but I would like you to think of something from your past just so you can measure. This will do it across the board. It won't just focus on one thing, but think of something from your past and write some notes just about how it feels so that we can go through and measure. Okay, so we have our notes. Let all your visualizations, all your thoughts about the situation, all your issues with the person, we're not focusing on the situation or the person. We're focusing on just this process, this practice, this goal. That's all we're doing right now, okay? This will do it across the board, okay? So now, open up your tarragon, or if you don't have tarragon, you can use benzoin. Rose also works, but you got to be sure that it's genuine rose. A lot of the roses on the market are not genuine. So tarragon and benzoin are pretty easy, and people don't tend to manipulate those two oils. Okay, so now start taking long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on your feet. Move your awareness to the lower leg between your knee and ankle. move your awareness to your upper thighs, between your knee and your hips, the front, the sides, the back. Be sure to get the inner thigh. Your hips, the sides, the front, the back, the whole pelvic floor, the groin area, the hip sockets. Long, slow, deep breaths. Your low abdomen, your low back. Your whole abdomen. your mid back, your chest, and the area between your shoulder blades, including your shoulder blades. Tops of the shoulders and the armpits. The upper arms, the forearms, the wrist and the hands, the neck, front, sides, and back, the jaws, and the whole head. Keep the bottle in your hand, but be still. Just let the inhalation go. Just be still. Keep your eyes closed. Just let it incubate. We're going to cycle through the same one again. So again, take your tarragon. Inhale with your awareness on your feet. Keep taking long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your feet. Just be still, be aware, stop the inhalation, just let it go for a second. From your ankles to your knees, long, slow, deep breaths. Keep inhaling on your lower legs. Pay special attention to your knees, front and back of your knees. Just let it go for a second. Stop inhaling. Just be still. Your awareness is on your thighs, your upper leg, the front, the back, the inner thigh, the outer thigh. Inhale. Just let it go. Just be still. Just let it incubate. Now your pelvis, your hips, the floor of the pelvis, the front side of your hips, the groin area, your tailbone area, your sacrum. Several long, slow, deep breaths. Just let it all go. Just be still. Put your awareness on your low abdomen and your low back. Long, slow, deep breaths on the low abdomen and the low back. Let it all go. Just be still. Be aware. Just let it incubate. Just be still. Your whole abdomen, all your internal organs, the whole abdominal cavity. Long, slow, deep breath. Focus on your mid-back, spinal muscles, the spine. Long, slow, deep breath. Just let it go. Let it incubate. Keep your eyes closed. Just be still. Let the inhalation go. Just be still. Keep your eyes closed. Your chest, the area between your shoulder blades, sides of your ribs, that whole area. Long, slow, deep breaths. Just let it go. Just be still. Be aware. Stop the inhalation. Just let it incubate. Your armpits, the tops of your shoulders, long, slow, deep breath. Continue to take long, slow, deep breaths. Continue taking long, slow, deep breaths. Your armpits, the tops of your shoulders, shoulder sockets. Just let go. Let go of everything. Just be still. Let go of the inhalation. Just be still. upper arms. Long, slow, deep breath. The front, the sides, the back. Your forearms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, your fingers. Long, slow, deep breaths. Just be still, just let everything go. Just be still. Your neck, front, sides, back, all the way to the base of your skull. Long, slow, deep breaths. Let everything go. Just be still. Your jaws, your temples, your whole head. Inhale, your jaws, your temples, your whole head. Just let everything go. Just be still. That was 2 cycles of the first step. Just be still. We will be posting this on the Facebook site, so don't worry about taking notes, just follow along. We will also send this out with the link. Step number 2, you're going to begin to inhale. Your awareness is on your navel. Still with the tarragon or the benzoin, your awareness is on the navel. Going 1.5 inches below the navel. Go over to the spleen. On the left-hand side, just below the ribs. Do front and back at the same time. Just be still, be aware, just let it go for a second. Just be still. Awareness is on your low back. Long, slow, deep breaths. Awareness on your low back. Ming Men for your low back, opposite your navel. Just be still, be aware, just let it all go for a second, let it incubate. Now go to the groin area, the sex chakra. Long, slow, deep breaths. Move your awareness to the tailbone area. Long, slow, deep breaths. Just be still, be aware. Maintain your stillness and awareness. Inhale with your awareness on the soles of your feet. Just be still, be aware, just let go for a second. Keep your eyes closed, just be still. This was segment 2. Put your awareness on your brain, both sides of your brain. We're beginning segment 3, the blood purification pattern. Keep your awareness on your brain. Move your awareness to the lungs, the whole lungs. Also, deep breath, your awareness on the lungs. Just be still, be aware. Just let go for a second. Give your body a moment, let it incubate. Now move to the liver, the right hand side below the ribs. Move your awareness from the liver a little bit more to the midline, not quite to the center, but just slightly off the center, still below the ribs. Inhale on that area. Just be still, be aware. Move down to the kidneys. Inhale. Move your awareness up to the spleen on the left-hand side below the ribs. Just be still, be aware. Just let it incubate and cook for a moment. Put your awareness on your navel. Long, slow, deep breath. Move your awareness to 1.5 inches below the navel. Your tailbone. Just be still, be aware, just let it incubate, just let go of it all. Just let it be still. With segment 3. Okay, let's do segment 4. Begin to inhale. Your awareness is on your low back, opposite your navel, your low back, also known as the Ming Men. Keep inhaling with your awareness on the Ming Men. Just be still for a moment, just let it incubate. Move your awareness to the area between your shoulder blades, your back heart. Inhale. Just be still, just let it incubate. Now the top of your head, the crown. Long, slow, deep breaths. Long, slow, deep breaths. Just be still, be aware. Just let it incubate. We're going to do that cycle again. Awareness on your low back for the Ming Men. The low back area opposite your navel. Move your awareness up to the area between your shoulder blades. Move your awareness to the top of your head. Keep your awareness on the top of your head. Keep inhaling. Okay, just be still, be aware. You can put the bottle down. Just be still, but keep your eyes closed. We'll just flush out whatever energy is left there. Just be still.
This is Bruni.
Hey, Bruni.
And hey, so I was aware of the situation. It was kind of like, it's still nagging at me at the beginning. So I put it in there. And you're right, I feel much more clearer. It's not gone, but it's very much diminished.
Good, 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 good. And you feel like if you think of the situation, the thing that it does is it's like a lot of times we have resentments in the situation, sometimes those resentments, this sounds really weird, sometimes those resentments are biological. They're not a psychological response, but it's a response to being pushed out of balance that eventually will manifest psychologically as a psychological resistance. But the resentment originally is that we were biologically pushed out of balance. So we have this response to this person or this situation. And so a lot of times, if you think about when we do forgiveness, like in pranic healing, you start in the body. You start in the body. You start from the main men, and then you go to the heart.
Right.
Right. Part of it is because so much of the resentment or the negative response is actually biological.
So it got lodged in an organ, so to speak.
Or well, it's like a series of responses. Probably most likely like endocrine system and nervous system, a little bit of the immune system.
Gotcha. Thank you.
But how does that feel? Like when you think of the situation, do you notice you feel a little bit more peaceful about it? Like you don't feel like you said, it was nagging at you and now it's not.
Correct.
Right.
Much more
Very
clear,
good
much
sign.
more manageable. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Hang on, guys. Sorry, I just have to. Will you send me what's in chakra root cleanser?
I have to.
Sorry, guys. My screen's.
Hold on just a second. Give us just a second. Hold on.
And because he does have another scheduled appointment in like less than 10 minutes, I am looking at your guys' questions in the chat and I'm taking little screenshots of them so I can ask Greg afterwards as well. And I can post those answers on Plant Prana Q&A for you guys. So, and if you're not on Facebook and aren't part of Plant Prana Q&A, if you had the question, you can email me at myapothecarygeek@gmail.com. Also, happy birthday, Narayani. And anybody else who might be celebrating a birthday today on.
Thank you. This has been a wonderful birthday gift.
Good, good. Okay.
How old's the child? Yeah, mute it for a second.
I can't. It's not letting me mute. My screen's stuck.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to share?
Hey Greg, this is Tracy.
Hey.
Hey, so my issue is huge and I feel a lot calmer about it. But physically I still feel it. Should I just keep doing this protocol?
You could keep doing this protocol, and then next week we're going to do the second step, which is Rue. So next week, if you guys be ready with Rue, and we'll give you some secondary choices, but Rue is usually the best choice for the second stage, and the second stage has to do with conflict. And Tracy, if I'm guessing what situation you're talking about, Rue is going to bring you a lot of relief.
Okay. Maybe we can talk in our session.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
You're so welcome. So it sounds like everybody had a good experience. Yeah.
Again, for you guys, for your questions, I'm just taking a screenshot of that, and I will ask Greg a little later, and we'll post that either on Plant Prana Q&A Or if you're not on that, just email me at apothecarygeek@gmail.com.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut it. Just I'm going to have
Thank
to cut it here.
you.
There's a little bit of a child with a medical emergency that I need to address for a student. So we will post this protocol and information about the next one. It will come through Plant Prana calendars on the next day or so, and that way you can prep for it. And we're going to do the same thing for step 2 next week.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Take care.
It's not it. Give me a sec.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Put a thingy down.